Hey guys, how's it going? My sober family, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing on this lovely, what is it, Sunday. I just wanted to kind of start the part two of, the video that I posted yesterday. Just kind of going over my story. Yeah, I mean, downtown, where I live was where I spent a lot of my time. That was where I drank. Like I said, there's a lot of bars, was in a very close proximity. So it was easy to, I guess, bar hop. But man, I don't miss it. I really don't. I did a lot of stupid stuff, you know. I can't tell you how many bars down there that I, drank at, and just made an absolute fool of myself. In my early 20s, just stupid stuff, man. I don't even know where to go. Whether it was picking fights or being involved in fights and just saying stuff and doing things that I shouldn't have done. But that's what drinking does to you. It's not good. But yeah, that's what I did, 21, 22, 23, I had a job, but I had no drive. I had no, I didn't know what I was doing. That's it. I never went to college. When I graduated high school, I kind of slid by, and then, like I said before, I hit my first drink at 21, and then, I worked some sales jobs, and I just didn't know what I was doing, and I just lived for the weekend. I barely got by, kind of half-assed at work, and was just looking forward to that Friday. And, drinking was fun. And I'll get, later on in the videos, I'll talk more about it, but until it wasn't, until things started to happen. But I continued that for a while. And I drank and drove all the time. I mean, with alcohol in my system or with it, in the vehicle. I mean, I didn't at first, when I was just going to a friend's house, I walked, but then that just changed quickly. And, I'll skip to the age of 23. When I was 20, I believe I was either 22 or 23. That's when I got an OUI. I was drinking and driving, plain and simple. I was driving too fast. I ended up passing somebody on the left, a girl that I was dating at the time, and I got pulled over, and I was over the limit, and I got an OUI, and I'm not proud of it. It's part of my story. It's, don't drink and drive. It's awful. I could have hurt a lot of people, but I did. And I did drink and drive, that is. But I got caught, and, I had to pay some fines. I had to go to a class, and, did I listen? No, of course not. I didn't drink and drive though. I had a class I had to go to, and I lost my license for 3 months. That was the longest 3 months of my life, and I didn't drive. I'll admit that I didn't drive. I still drank because I'm an alcoholic, and I didn't learn my lesson until a lot later, but, which we'll get into, but those were a long 3 months. I mean, I had to walk places. I had to walk all the way to the next town over, which was a couple miles, to be able to take a bus to get to my job at the time. And it sucked, but you know, I wish that I had learned my lesson then, but I hadn't, you know, and it just, you know, the partying just, you know, kept continuing. And yeah, you know, like I said, a few months went by, you know, I got my license back, and I wish I could say that that was the last time I drank and drove, but that's not the case. I never had another OUI, which I'm thankful for, but that was just pure luck. It could have happened 100 times. But yeah, you know, the party, I guess, kept going on. Still kind of just doing, you know, just sliding by, you know, getting till the weekends, and then the weekends, you know, I always know I had a problem, or it was a problem, that is. You know, and then the weekends would be, you know, it'd be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then maybe I'd skip a Monday or Tuesday, you know, and then, you know, Friday would come around. You know, I always made, or not Friday, I'm sorry, Wednesday would come around, you know, it was hump day, it was the middle of the week, you know, so I'd make, you know, some sort of excuse to, you know, drink. I'd always come up with a name for, you know, for a day, you know. It was like Friday and Saturday night always seemed to be a given, and then, you know, eventually it turned into Sunday, like Sunday fun day, and, you know, Tuesday was I think at the time it was ladies night, and then it was just always, you know, Wednesday was hump day, you know. It was just always an excuse to drink, you know. It's like, you know, just I stayed up all hours, and just, I remember, you know, staying up until 6, you know, 7 in the morning, you know, enough to, you know, to look outside and seeing kids go to school. Man, just wild, you know. It's just, you know, I don't miss that, you know. It's, you know, you know, I don't, I can't say I don't think about things from time to time, but there's a lot I don't miss, you know. You know, I'll end this part of the video with that, but it just feels good. It feels a lot, you know, a lot better, or it feels good to be, you know, to be sober, you know. And I got to bring myself back, you know, to the time where I didn't feel good, because it's a reminder, you know, of what I used to be, and that's just not the person I am anymore. And, you know, if you're watching this video and you're sober curious, or you're sober, or, you know, maybe you're still drinking or thinking about quitting, you know, it's the best choice that you'll make. I mean, your life will get better. I mean, it's just not gonna happen overnight, but it'll get better. You know, there's a lot of other things that, like I said, we'll talk about later. A lot of health stuff that came up. But I'm lucky, you know, I'm lucky to be here, and, you know, take it one day at a time, you know, and you'll get through it. So, you know, just do me a favor. If you can like it, share the video, subscribe. You know, this helps me a lot. I want, you know, to build a community and talk to other people. So like I said, subscribe to the channel, and, you know, comment below, tell me your story, you know, be positive, you know, and just do your best every day. We'll talk to you soon.